match of the year. 4 options here. Number 1, Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom. MJF versus Bryan Danielson Iron Man match. Gunther, Drew McIntyre, and Sheamus at WrestleMania 39. And last but not least, Swerve versus Hangman in the death match. And the winner is, with 43% of the vote, Swerve When You Drive. Swerve and Hangman death match from AEW. 43% for that one, 29% for Gunther, Drew, and Sheamus, 21% for Omega and Ospreay, and then only 7% for MJF, Bryan Danielson, Iron Man match. Who wants to go first with the thoughts?
I go first. Mine's is simple. I did not pick Swerve and Hangman death match, although I probably would have, but I thought that it was recency bias, so that's why I didn't pick them. I think just purely off of that factor. And I went with Omega and Will Ospreay. That was something to start the year off. That was just it made me feel so good to be able to see Kenny Omega wrestle again like that. And to go against Will Ospreay, who I feel is one of my favorite wrestlers too. I think they would have got more of the votes if it wasn't at Wrestle Kingdom and if everybody, the mass, would have been able to see that match. I just remember going away from it. I was like, nobody is going to be able to to even hold a candle to this match this year. And that was in January that I said that. But I can't hate on the Swerve and Hangman. Being hung and you're the Hangman. Like, I mean, just everything about that one and what led up to it. We talked about that slow burn of them feuding and how I would have been whooped his ass the moment I saw you on site. But what we got as that payoff in that match, I cannot hate on that getting 43% of the vote. But again, another category where all four, it was almost like you just had to flip a coin. And you're like, okay, I guess I'll go with this one.
I gotta tell you, this was an easy one for me. I didn't really go back and add matches to this one, but match of the year for me, this isn't about the actual moves or the match quality, if it was 5 stars or anything like that. It's about the culmination of storyline, character investment, and outcome of the match for me. Is what if it's match of the year. And so for me, was Gunther, Drew, and Sheamus a great match? Absolutely. But I wasn't really invested into the outcome of that match. Like, right? Like with Gunther, Drew, or Sheamus, any of them could have won that match, I would have been just fine. And I think that's a L from a storyline perspective. I think that someone should be rooting for someone and rooting against somebody in the match for it to really be it. The MJF and Bryan, I mean, was that a great match? We can go back in time. For me, like, I thought that setup to that match was clumsy. Remember, they had the Jericho, gauntlet matches to where they kept recycling that same storyline where, you knew Bryan, he had to wrestle like 15 matches. And for me, there was no question that he was going to lose any of those matches. Like, right. And just the storyline going up into that match was clumsy. It wasn't great to me. So at the end, I would have been fine if MJF would have won. I would have been fine if Bryan would have won. I just wasn't invested in the story going to that match. But I do acknowledge it was a great match. Ospreay and Omega, now they did have a story going into it, right? It was years in the making. But just for me, I know the story just wasn't really didn't really hit the way that Swerve and Hangman hit for me. I definitely was invested in Swerve from a character perspective. I want to see him go to the next level, but also that storyline made me care about Hangman, which I didn't. I had no investment in him as a character before that feud. Even we talked about it. Rhodesia mentioned there was a point to where after Swerve visits the baby's room and tossed a shirt, a loose shirt in a baby's crib. You never do that. Like, like if I saw his ass the next time I'm not lacing up no boots and putting on my wrestling gear. Like, no, man. As soon as I get to the arena, I'm waiting in front of the arena. I got a pipe or whatever, and I'm gonna do something to you as soon as you roll up. It's gonna be a problem. But what I got was a nice little promo right before the match when Heyman kind of redirected. And then I've never seen this from any match to where we don't get entrances from both characters into the match. When Hangman just skipped his entrance, he just ran in the ring. He got him some. And as a dad, as a father, you got somebody invading your house, coming into your child's room. I'm not waiting for my music to hit. As soon as I see this dude, I get the opportunity. Like, right, I'm running in there. I'm doing my thing. And then lastly, with that match, I mean, I'm not going like. I'm just going to put it this way: the visuals of seeing Swerve Scott hang Adam Page was spectacular to me. Just that visual moment was like, wow.
Which for me came in second to Adam Page drinking Swerve's blood.
Hey, here's one thing I will say: I missed that part, which I'm glad I kind of did. I think that kind of would have ruined a little bit to me. I might have turned my head to this. I don't know. I missed that part. That's nasty. But
I would never forget that.
But
never forget
what a
it,
great
man.
match. What a great story with those characters.
And to your point about matching the sense of urgency, one of my biggest issues with WWE for years was somebody would lose the title, or they got jumped the previous week, or something dastardly happened to them, typically with faces. They would come out and do their entrance as if they just won the title in the main event of WrestleMania, and WrestleMania was the night before. And it used to bother me so much because this is supposed to be riddled in realism. And if you're telling me that this person just got jumped, or they just lost their title, or whatever happened to them, they should not be coming out smiling, still hitting their pyro. And no, they should be heading a beeline to that ring, getting on the microphone and saying what they feel. And we got that with Swerve, or with Hangman that night. I said when we broke down that pay-per-view that whatever you want to call that match, if you just want to say it's a death match, if you just want to say it's just brutality, whatever it was, that was the best thing I had ever seen of that. And I still stick with that. You guys broke it down. I'm not going to break down actually anything because I'm about to move it on to you guys. I actually voted for Omega and Ospreay, though. Because for me, when we talk about match of the year, it is just a certain feeling that you get. Yeah, I really liked your breakdown of for you. It's the build up to it. I completely understand that. But for me, it's the feeling I get when I'm watching it. And when I watched Kenny and Ospreay, knowing what New Japan was before the pandemic, before AEW, what they are after, Ospreay is your top guy. Kenny should be AEW's top guy. He's coming back home because you can't beat me. I'm coming here to take what's rightfully mine. And for them to go out there and do what they did, Rhodesia, to what you said, that was the Kenny Omega we've wanted in AEW since the beginning of AEW. And we saw glimpses of it. We know he was hurt, et cetera, et cetera. But for me, in January, I was like, I've already probably seen my match of the year. And I loved all four of these matches. I thought you could argue that MJF Bryan was the best Iron Man match I've ever seen. For me, it was. Gunther, Drew, and Sheamus, we were in the building for WrestleMania. And I just remember watching this and just saying, like, damn, this is a work of art.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys got it. Loved it. Loved all four of those matches. If you haven't seen one of those, please go out of your way to find it, because you would be pleasantly surprised with those four if you've missed